The drive from the charity auction was silent, but the silence was heavier than any argument. Jing's hand still rested on Sia's, the casual possessiveness, a physical manifestation of his final chilling declaration. I save what I own, and you are mine. The dangerous line between captor and savior was not just blurred, it was erased. Sia knew the truth of his protective instincts came from a place of deep personal trauma, the loss of his sister, but that did not negate the iron will to possess her. It only made the obsession more complex, more devastating. The sleek black sedan did not return to the 25th floor suite. Instead, it drove deeper into the exclusive hills outside the city center, eventually stopping before massive gates that slid open silently to reveal a sprawling, modernist mansion. It wasn't merely a house. It was a fortress of glass, steel, and stone, illuminated by subtle, cold lights. This was Jing's true domain. Jing finally spoke, his voice low, breaking the tension of the long ride. The suite was temporary. After the love scandal, you are too exposed. This is my private residence. It is safer. No one can reach you here, Sia. No one except me. Sia pulled her hand from beneath his, the emerald dress feeling suddenly heavy, like armor that had failed. She looked at the mansion, the architecture itself screaming control. The cage just got bigger, and the lock just got stronger, she thought. A knot of dread tightening in her stomach. Safer, or more isolated. Jing, you are moving me from a high-rise prison to a gilded cage in the wilderness. She challenged, her voice low but firm. Jing simply smiled that rare, unnerving smile. Both. You will find that security here is absolute. You have the north wing. My wing is the south. You will not cross the central line without my express permission, and you will not attempt to leave the grounds. This is not a hotel, Sia. It is my home, and you are my responsibility. They entered the mansion, and Sia was overwhelmed by the oppressive, cold luxury. The ceilings were impossibly high, the floors polished black granite reflecting the sparse, expensive art. Every piece of furniture looked less like a comfort and more like a carefully selected object of power. Even the air felt filtered and controlled. Jing led her to the north wing. Her new bedroom was vast, encompassing a living area, a balcony overlooking a manicured landscape, and a walk-in closet larger than her entire previous apartment. A massive, 4-poster bed stood center stage, draped in heavy silks. Jing stood in the doorway, his silhouette framed by the hallway light, watching her with a proprietary stare. You will not be disturbed. Security is managed by voice activation and fingerprint scans. Your prints have already been registered for the north wing. Do not try to bypass the system. He handed her a small electronic key card. This grants you access to the main sitting areas and the formal dining room only. The main office, the south wing, and the central library are off limits. If I find you attempting to breach my privacy, there will be consequences. Shia held the key card. It felt like a tangible symbol of her captivity, a cold, metallic reminder of her limited freedom. Her eyes met his, a silent promise of rebellion passing between them. Consequences? Are you going to confine me to this room, Jing? Or is this where the punishment begins? She asked, throwing the word back at him, testing the boundaries he had so meticulously laid out. Jing's eyes darkened, the corners of his mouth twitching upwards. Patience, Sia. Consequences are earned. Good night. He closed the door, and the click of the heavy lock echoed the finality of her situation. He's waiting for me to break a rule. He wants me to challenge him. That is the fire he craves. Fine, I'll give him the fire, but I'll use it to burn down his walls, she resolved, discarding the emerald dress and walking to the window. The grounds were silent, patrolled by unseen security, the boundaries sharp and clear. The next 3 days were a monotonous study of Jing's routine, an enforced coexistence that felt more strained than any public performance. Jing's schedule was relentless. He left before dawn and returned after midnight, working from his private library, the one room he had explicitly forbidden her from entering. This confirmed her suspicion. The library held his secrets, including the truth about Mr. Han. Her new routine revolved around surveillance. She used the large window of her room to study the mansion's layout and the small access she had to the security monitors. She'd cleverly peeked at Min's laptop during a brief meeting to learn the blind spots. Jing, despite his absence, maintained absolute control. Every morning, Min delivered her schedule, a carefully curated list of activities, yoga, language lessons, and mandatory appearances at dinner. Only with Min present, or sometimes Jing's stern, elderly aunt. Confirming her role as a stable fiancée, every item of clothing was selected by Jing's team and delivered daily, removing her last shred of personal choice. One evening, during dinner with Jing and Min, Sia decided to push the boundaries just slightly. In a seemingly casual tone, she questioned, "Jing, this mansion is beautiful, but the library. It seems so isolated. Is that where you keep your most treasured collection?" Jing didn't look up from his meal, his focus absolute. His voice was cold, clipped. "The library is my workspace, Sia. It is not a place for exploration. Do not mistake my home for a museum. Focus on your salad." Min subtly shifted in his seat, clearly uncomfortable with Sia's defiance. Sia pressed further, a subtle sting in her voice. "I thought fiancées were allowed to share their partner's interests. I'm curious about your history, Jing, especially the history of the G group, like your dealings with Mr. Han." The knife in Jing's hand stopped mid-air. He finally lifted his gaze, and the intensity of his stare felt like a physical blow. "Mr. Han is not a topic for the dinner table. He is irrelevant. Do not test my patience," he warned, his voice a low growl of pure menace. Sia didn't retract the question, but she didn't push further. She had made her point. She was not intimidated, and she knew the name of his ghost. The library is the key, and the name Han makes him react. "I need to find a moment when he is completely distracted," she planned. The opportunity finally presented itself on the fourth night. Jing was supposed to be in a critical, all-night board meeting in the city. Min had left instructions for Sia to retire early, assuring her that the mansion would be quiet and safe. At 2 a.m., Sia crept out of her room, dressed in a black silk kameez that minimized her silhouette. She was acutely aware of the cameras, but she had memorized the blind spots. The mansion was vast and silent, echoing the chilling reality of her isolation. The central line, a seamless transition in the black granite floor, seemed to hum with silent warning. She crossed it, her heart pounding a frantic rhythm against her ribs. The library was at the end of the long south corridor. The door was made of dark, heavy wood, secured by a keypad. Sia remembered Jing entering his code on the first night. A sequence of 6 digits. She had focused on his hand movements, trying to decipher the rhythm rather than the numbers. She tried 3 combinations based on his sister's assumed birthday and the date of the surveillance file. All failed. The security system beeped a final warning. One more failed attempt, and the alarm would sound. Sia backed away, adrenaline coursing through her. She leaned against a cold wall, closing her eyes, trying to recall the exact, deliberate press of his fingers. Jing didn't rush. He had a cadence. He pressed, paused, pressed, paused, pressed. 3 fast ones. Then, a double pause. She approached the door again, her fingers trembling. She entered a sequence based on the rhythm. 1 to 1 -0, -4, -0, -5, the sister's likely death date and the surveillance date, separated by his rhythmic pauses. A soft click echoed in the massive silence. The door was unlocked. Sia slipped inside the library, pulling the heavy door almost closed behind her. The room was breathtaking. A towering space lined with dark wood shelves filled with rare, leather-bound books. In the center, A huge desk was covered with technical schematics and stacks of financial reports. This room was the heart of Jing's empire, and she hoped the key to his conscience. She was about to move to the desk when she heard a sound from the attached washroom. Water running. Panic seized her. Jing was not in the city. He was here. She quickly pressed herself behind a high-backed leather chair near the fireplace, attempting to regulate her breathing. Jing emerged from the washroom, wearing only a pair of black silk pajama bottoms that hung low on his hips, revealing the sharp V-cut of his torso. His hair was damp, and he looked exhausted, his shoulders slumped in a way she had never seen. He was holding a glass of water, his eyes distant. He walked to the large window, staring out at the darkness. His posture was not that of the unyielding CEO, but of a man burdened by sleepless nights and crushing responsibility. He looked vulnerable, yet still immensely powerful. He rubbed the back of his neck, his muscles flexing. He sighed, a sound so ragged and raw it caught Sia by surprise. In a low voice, almost a whisper to himself, he murmured, "You are an impossible burden, Sia. But I won't let you run. Not again." He turned, not toward the door, but toward the large desk, running a hand over the surface. He picked up a framed photo Sia hadn't noticed before. It was a picture of a young woman with a defiant smile, the same fire in her eyes that Sia possessed. It was his sister. He stared at the photo, his features softened by a pain that seemed genuine. In a voice filled with profound regret, he whispered, "I'm sorry, Era. I failed you, but I won't fail her." He gently put the photo down. Sia watched this rare, raw display of grief. It confirmed his confession about his sister, strengthening her belief that his motivation was deeply rooted in a desire for atonement. But it also proved that the line between his sister and her was terrifyingly thin. He wasn't saving her. He was replacing his sister in his own controlled narrative. He finally sat down at the desk, opening a heavy, locked folder. He was preoccupied, consumed by the darkness of his work. This is the moment. He is distracted and the file is open. "I need to move now," Sia thought, her breath barely leaving her lungs. If you are deeply immersed in this dangerous game of control and are dying to know what happens next, take a quick break to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss the climax of episode 5. Also, drop a comment with your theory. Is Jing a murderer or a misguided savior? Sia moved with agonizing slowness, keeping the high chair between her and the desk. She needed to reach the tablet on the far side of the room, near the small drinks cabinet. The tablet often held encrypted backups. She took 2 silent steps, the polished marble floor chilling her bare feet. But Jing, even exhausted, was a predator. His voice, though quiet, was sharp, cutting through the silence like a scalpel. "You shouldn't be here, Sia." Sia froze, a gasp caught in her throat. She slowly turned, her heart hammering against her ribs. Jing hadn't moved from his seat, but his eyes were fixed on her, burning with a dangerous intensity. He was no longer the grieving brother. He was the master of the house, and she was the trespasser. His gaze traveled slowly over her silk kameez, a look that was more demanding than any shout. In a voice that was pure, cold command, he ordered, "Turn around slowly and walk to the center of the room." Sia's defiance warred with a primal need to obey. She slowly turned, feeling the silk whisper against her skin, agonizingly aware of her vulnerability and his almost naked strength. She walked toward him, the tension between them coiling tighter with every step. She stopped several feet from his desk. She met his gaze, anger masking her fear and the traitorous rush of desire. "You set a trap. Jing, you lied about the meeting. You wanted me to break the rules," she accused, her voice shaking slightly. Jing rose from the chair, a movement of such deliberate power it made her knees weak. He didn't come around the desk. Instead, he leaned back against it, his arms resting on the polished wood, trapping her with his gaze alone. In a deep, possessive voice, he corrected her. "I didn't set a trap. I provided an opportunity. You are the one who chooses to disobey. Sia, and disobedience in my house has a price." He pushed off the desk and walked toward her. Slowly, deliberately. She stood rooted to the spot, unable to retreat. His bare chest, the definition of his muscles, and the raw, unmasked desire in his eyes were overwhelming. He stopped directly in front of her, close enough for her to feel the heat radiating off his body, the faint, clean scent of expensive soap and pure power. In a low, intoxicating whisper, he questioned, "Why did you come here, Sia? To look for Mr. Han, or to look for me?" Sia tried to keep her voice firm. "To find the truth about your monster. I will not be owned by a killer." Jing laughed. A low, dark sound that vibrated deep in her chest. He raised one hand, his fingers tracing the silk strap of her kameez, barely brushing her shoulder. But the contact felt like fire. In a voice heavy with command, he demanded, "Look at me, Sia. Look at the man who saved you, and tell me that your body obeys your conscience." He gripped the strap of the silk kameez and pulled her forward, closing the last few inches between them. Her hands instinctively flew up to his chest, pushing against the hard expanse of his skin, a futile gesture of defense. He lowered his head, his eyes burning into hers, not letting her look away. "You feel this, Sia, this panic, this need. Your heart is pounding for two reasons, fear and desire. You hate my control, but your body craves the power I hold." His lips finally descended, but not in a kiss of gentleness. It was a kiss of possession. It was demanding, consuming, and utterly overwhelming. His mouth moved against hers with a primal urgency, forcing her to respond, to submit to the storm of feeling he invoked. Sia fought him for a moment, a muffled cry of protest escaping her lips. But the overwhelming tide of attraction, the weeks of repressed tension, broke the dam. She surrendered, her hands abandoning his chest to clutch at the back of his neck, pulling him closer, deeper into the forbidden kiss. Jing deepened the kiss, a sound of victory rumbling in his throat. His arms wrapped around her waist, lifting her slightly, pulling her flush against his hard, warm body. The silk of her kameez was the only barrier. He broke the kiss only to whisper against her mouth, his voice hoarse with triumph. "You are mine, Sia. Your thoughts, your body, your fire, all belong to me. You can hate me, but you cannot deny this." He kissed her again, forcing her head back, dominating her senses completely. Sia was lost, her mind screaming defiance while her body responded with a desperate, hungry need. "I hate this. I hate him, but I want this. I want him to control me." The thought flashed through her mind, a terrifying admission that sealed her captivity. He finally released her lips but held her trapped against him, his breath ragged. His eyes were heavy with a dark promise, looking down at her. The master of her desire, in a low, dangerous command, he stated, "Now, tell me the truth. You came here for the file, not for me. Now that I've shown you where your obedience lies, you can go back to your room. But know this, every inch of you is my property, and every one of your secrets will be known to me." He set her down, stepping back sharply, the entire confrontation ending as abruptly as it began. He was breathing hard, the control over himself nearly gone, but the iron will held. The punishment was the kiss, the forced admission of her desire, and the chilling realization that she wanted more. Sia stumbled back to the high-backed chair, her body trembling, her cheeks flushed with shame and raging desire. Jing returned to his desk, his back to her, leaving the magnetic tension to slowly dissipate. She had failed the mission, but the incident had created an opportunity. Jing was still preoccupied, regaining his composure. He had left the heavy locked folder from earlier open on his desk. Sia, driven by a renewed sense of purpose, she needed to prove he was a monster to save herself from her own desire, moved with stealth toward the desk. She knew she had mere seconds. She reached the folder. The title, scrawled in Jing's own hand, was Era's trust, final resolution. Era, his sister. She frantically flipped through the pages. Most were legal documents related to the dissolution of a trust, but near the end, she found the document she was looking for, a detailed, heavily redacted internal security report. The report detailed Mr. Han's final hours. Han was not killed by Jing, but he was cornered by Jing's legal team and security forces after attempting to steal money from Era's trust fund. Money meant for a charity she had founded. Han was not just a rival. He was the person who betrayed Jing's sister before she died. Cornered and facing imminent arrest and ruin, Han chose to disappear, fleeing the country with a new identity, provided by a third-party contact, a contact Jing had arranged. Sia scanned the final lines of the report. Han has been successfully relocated to a non-extradition zone. The threat to Era's legacy is neutralized. He will live a life of poverty and fear, exactly as he deserves. He is not dead, but he is completely broken. Mission complete. The truth was a heavy blow. Jing wasn't a killer, but he was a judge, jury, and executioner. He had ruined a man's life with meticulous, controlled fury. The act was merciless, but it wasn't murder. It was retribution for the sister he failed to save. Jing hadn't lied about Han failing. He had simply omitted the part about destroying him utterly. As Sia absorbed this realization, he is not a murderer, but he is a god of vengeance. The door to the library suddenly swung open. Not the internal door, but the main one. Assistant Min burst in, his face pale and contorted with fear. In a breathless panic, Min stammered, "Sir, I'm sorry to intrude, but the grandfather, he just called. He's on his way here. He left the hospital. He says he has an urgent message for Miss Sia." Jing snapped out his own deep thoughts instantly. He snatched the file from Sia's hands, his eyes flashing between the terrified Min and the rebellious Sia. "You saw the file," he stated, his voice flat and terrifying. It wasn't a question. Sia didn't deny it. She stood her ground, using the sudden external chaos as her shield. In a defiant voice, she confronted him. "I saw it. You didn't kill Mr. Han. You ruined him. You sentenced him to a fate worse than death because he hurt your sister. You used me to replace her fire. But I am not Era, Jing. I am not a memory. I am your captive, and you are terrified that I know your deepest secret." The color drained from Jing's face, not from fear of exposure, but from the raw accuracy of her psychological blow. "You understand nothing. I did it for her, and now I do it for you." Han was a threat, and threats must be removed. Jing roared, his voice finally losing its practiced calm. Min stood frozen in the doorway, witnessing the complete unraveling of his CEO. Jing took a deep, shuddering breath, his voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. "You saw the truth, Sia. You know how ruthless I am, and you know how deep my obsession runs. You know my weaknesses and my strengths, and you still disobeyed me. You are uncontrollable." He walked toward her, slowly, deliberately, forcing her to look into his dark, storm-filled eyes. In a voice that was pure final command, he proposed the ultimate move. "The fake engagement is over. It's too weak. Lav will not stop, and neither will your father. And now, you know too much. The only way to secure the G group, protect my sister's legacy, and keep you safe from every single enemy I have, including yourself, is to bind you completely. The grandfather is coming. We will give him what he wants." He grabbed her arms, his grip firm, his words a desperate, possessive promise. "Sia Lee, I am done playing games. I am done pretending. You will marry me, not as a fiancée of convenience, but as my wife, my real wife. You will be bound by law and by my name. You are my fire, my anchor, and my possession. Say yes. Say yes. Or I will hand you over to your father right now, and you will marry Lav." The ultimatum was brutal, shocking, and absolute. Sia looked at the man who had just saved her, ruined a man's life, and stripped her of her free will, and felt the terrifying magnetic pull of his love and his power. The grandfather's impending arrival meant she had moments to decide her fate, to be bound to the monster who craves me, or to be destroyed by the small, petty monster who hates me. The choice was horrifyingly clear. Sia closed her eyes, a single, silent tear escaping. She looked at Jing, her voice barely a whisper of surrender. "Yes, Jing, I will marry you." The CEO's face was unreadable. Part triumph, part dark relief. He had won. The grandfather was arriving, and their fate was sealed. The marriage of convenience was about to become a marriage of true, terrifying obsession. This was the incredibly intense The Secret of Room 302. Episode 4. Jing forced Sia into a real marriage by exposing her greatest fear, and now the grandfather is about to arrive. But what dark secret does the grandfather hold, and will Sia manage to escape the gilded cage before the wedding day? Don't miss the shocking turn in Episode 5. The Wedding Day Betrayal.